I've got my eye on these probes. And Probe himself.
So do I. I would love to see Probe mix things up here, and maybe again be the aggressor. It is a PvP, but at the same time, it's also so risky to do things like that when this map is so, or this series is so important. To be fair, I do also recognize that Probe, I think it was on social media, I think it was today or yesterday, he's like, you know what, like, you know, he's like feeling comfortable, like he's not feeling too pressured here in DreamHack.
Yeah.
So yeah, nerves or anything like that shouldn't really be like being a factor here for him.
Yeah, he already sort of made that decision to take things a little bit easier a while ago, so yeah, I'm hoping he's going to be able to play loose here and to show us some, if not necessarily the peak probe, since he himself doesn't think he'll be able to get that in, then at least a very interesting builds and some interesting games coming out from him.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real here. Like, he's still going to do his best, the best that he can do right now.
Definitely.
And we'll see how that turns out here. I was keeping an eye on that probe. It looks like it's just a pylon. It's feels bad.
It's a spotter.
Exactly. So TeebuL just throwing out his pylon just to make it again seem like he's proxying something. So Probe has, of course, to respect that and scout around the edges of the map to make sure there isn't a proxy Stargate or anything like that.
Yeah, and again, it's not the biggest deals leaving this pylon out here. But TeebuL, it's not like it's too exposed, and again, just it gives him a really good spotter if Probe decides to go for some, I don't know, Warp Prism Harass or some kind of Oracle style.
Yeah, of course. Just have that added benefit if he wishes, and there we go. We do have a Stargate opener, but it is at home.
Yeah, again, not utilizing that. I have to wonder if utilizing that pylon that was proxying the map would have been worth it, but I think Probe saw it regardless, so...
He did not. He has not seen it.
Oh.
He has not got anywhere close to it. He's honestly, yeah, there would have been some benefit. It would have gotten across the map faster, I guess. Much faster, though. Not by much. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth it, because you do run the risk of it, you know, being depowered later on, especially if you want to commit to Phoenixes.
Yeah, I guess that is the main question for TeebuL. Do I want to commit to a Stargate style? If so, then I want to make sure I have my Stargate safe, constantly producing, never too exposed to be depowered or even taken out. If he was going for more of a Stargate opening into a transition, then yeah, I suppose he might as well go for the proxy, but it turns out that's exactly what he's going for, yeah. Grabs that Twilight Council immediately afterwards. We have mirrored builds coming out from both of our players.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm a little bit surprised by how TeebuL opened up compared to Probe. We talk about this all the time. Oxide is the map to go for that low ground wall, right? It just makes the most sense. It's the most defensible map, so because of that, Probe is going for a much faster nexus in a much more defensible location. Meanwhile, TeebuL's is delayed a little bit more. You know, he was playing this a little bit safer, a little bit more scared, and we see, at least the Oracle for TeebuL not really doing much here.
Yeah, at the very least it gets a reveal. Probe, meanwhile, does not go for that revelation. Jumps straight to the mineral line, starts taking out as many probes as possible. And he gets that scout, too. He's probably shaking his head a little like, God damn it. How are we both doing the same thing?
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's not, because it's like, whoa, like, I'm just executing this so much better. Because he actually
might be the one shaking his head.
Yeah, Probe is the one who actually got worker kills. Meanwhile, TeebuL, he still has his Oracle alive, but he doesn't get into the mineral line again. Gets pushed away.
Probe definitely being very careful with his stalkers, making sure that they are covering those mineral lines. Oracle really can't do much other than get revelations out. Probe still has his own Oracle alive, but I have to wonder if he's gonna continue trying to go into mineral lines now that TeebuL is aware of the unit.
Oh yeah, 100%. As he's going to try and dip into the natural base. Thankfully, TeebuL is ready here at the natural, so he's not going to get too much damage done, as there are a couple of stalkers in position. Force back, force the revelation. Meanwhile, now the onus is on TeebuL, right? Like, he still has his Oracle, he still has potential for damage. Even if it's not now, maybe later on. Like, he needs to find a way to get some kind of value out of this Oracle, more so than just scouting.
Yeah, some stasis wards would be nice, even offensive stasis wards to try to prevent a push from coming his way. One of the most annoying things in the world, I can tell you as a Terran player, is having a stasis ward right outside my natural as I push out.
It's awful, mate. It's awful. And we'll see if we get that. Meanwhile, yo, Probe is just ramping up that aggression with some 4 gateways finishing up here. Gonna be zooming across the map to reinforce. And the scary thing is that TeebuL, he did have an offensive stasis to deny a 3rd, but not to spot the move out.
Not at all. Now the Stalkers see the Stalkers of Probe. And at the very least, TeebuL will be getting his +1 weapons before Probe, so Probe really needs to get the damage done now. He needs to win the battle before that upgrade finishes up.
Oh my god, that he does. Meanwhile, we do have a couple of Blink Stalker Micro here, and oh my god, Probe actually sustaining quite a lot of losses there. Oh.
Quite a lot of Stalkers went down, but 4 more Probes get taken out. Probe really saying, I'm the only Probe this map, TeebuL.
Exactly. Even after the opener, the Oracle still gets more damage done. Look at it, 9 kills already on this one Oracle. Meanwhile, the one plus side is that because Probe went for the kill, like went for the engagement versus the Stalkers, this 3rd base survived, and it's going up, and it's going to be much faster compared to Probe's.
That it will. Unless this is mind games from Probe, and he's thinking, look, you're going to finish that Nexus. That means you can cancel it.
True. Thankfully, there was a spotted Probe, so TeebuL is aware of the army positioning, so he does reposition his own. We already have a shield battery on the way. Once this Nexus finishes in a couple of seconds, he will have overcharge as well, so this position, it shouldn't be broken.
Yeah, not yet, anyway. TeebuL obviously has the better upgrades, but Probe has a lot more Stalkers. Finally, his Oracle gets taken out.
Finally, and I love this. TeebuL switching things up here, going for a bit of a Dark Shrine. So is Probe, to be fair. I mean, it's a PvP. What we gonna do? Not make Dark Shrines, not make DTs. But TeebuL's is much faster.
I don't remember the last time I saw a PvP where both players went for the Dark Shrine, but I am grateful we got to see it now.
It's beautiful, mate. It's beautiful. And like quickly looking at a couple of things here. Probe doesn't have a Robo. He just lost his Oracle as well, so he doesn't have Revelation. He has 0 detection right now, so there's so much potential for these DTs.
Yeah, compare that to TeebuL, who I believe still has his own Oracle. No, actually not. Neither player has detection. What?
Yeah, no one. It's not there, mate. Meanwhile, Probe completely outpositions his opponent. Gonna try and go up into the natural, but backs off instead. Doesn't commit.
Yeah, Probe definitely being very non-committal right now. I wouldn't necessarily call it indecisive because, you know, it is a tough call to make, but he just doesn't want to commit to a big engagement unless he's certain he can win.
Exactly, and he's forced to engage because he's losing every single Probe across the map. He blinks on forward, he takes down the shield battery, but it's not enough. GG gets called, and just like that, the DTs do it. TeebuL takes game 1.
Nice little back and forth yeah in the first game, honestly. It's really hard to call who was going to take it until those DTs came in and forced Probe into an engagement. Probe didn't want to commit to anything unless he knew he could win, but then he was forced to before he was, you know, fully in his final form, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was doing a really good job at harassing the mineral lines and taking out worker after worker. But then when he moved out with his probes, like, with his stalkers, he didn't really get too much damage, unfortunately. So it's a bit of a feels bad. And yeah, those DTs were the game changer there for TeebuL.
Never under... You know, they normally say when behind Dark Shrine, but I'm not sure if TeebuL was that far behind.
Hey, anytime Dark Shrine.
Anytime, pretty much. Are you a Protoss player? Get a Dark Shrine. As we just get everybody ready.
Yep. We do need that set up here. We also need to set up the player teams as well. There we go. And we are getting this underway.
That we are. Timing.
that was close.
I was worried for a sec that I clicked the start game button.
So it's okay. It's okay. God. Yes, here we go. Game number 2, and mate, we just keep this map keeps sneaking in every now and then.
It's haunting my nightmares. I had a dream of it last night, actually. In a few hours I had to sleep.
Did you actually have a dream?
Did I say last night? Did I say last night? I meant this morning.
This morning, yeah.
I did, actually.
Jesus Christ.
But here's the thing, I dreamt that there were eggs on this map.
There were eggs?
But,
Colombian
let's
player?
not get into. Let's not. He did play on this map. EGGZ. But we'll get into that Dream Therapy sometime later, I suppose. In the bottom right-hand corner map, starting all the way in the bottom right-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the Red Protoss player coming out from the land of Pakistan, playing from the land of Britain. He is going to be representing Genesis Gaming, currently up 1-0 in this PvP. He just needs to win this, and he's secure for another chance to make it into the playoffs. He is TeebuL.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Blackburn LE, we have the Australian Protoss player. He is blue, representing Legacy Esports. It is Probe.
Now we're on a PvP. Major question on my mind. Who's going to take the gold base first?
I don't think we're gonna see a gold base this game, Yako. I'll be honest, man. I don't think it's gonna go that far. We'll see. I mean,
we get some good old NA1 base. Is what you're saying?
yeah. Well, I mean, not necessarily. But something that's shocking to me is that for some reason it didn't happen on Oxide, but finally both players agreed to go for the low ground walls on Blackburn.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, again, like Oxide, you got that ramp. It's solid. It's good. TeebuL finally taking advantage of that, making use of that. Meanwhile, both players are being as annoying as possible with their pylon blocks, maybe even a cyber block as well on top of this.
Yeah, we'll see how cheeky Probe decides to play this out. TeebuL, you gotta throw down your pylon, buddy. No.
I mean, regardless, he's still forcing out the Zealot, again, which is the goal of the initial pylon here.
It really pretty much is, and on the flip side, you could argue that since TeebuL didn't go for that pylon, he's not wasting any resources here.
Very
Probe's still a little hesitant to throw down his Nexus.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Probe gets in for another scout. He confirms the tech, is able to scout the Stargate, and instead of going for his own tech, he prioritizes his Nexus.
Alrighty then. Interesting choice, but I suppose Probe is confident enough in the Stalker control, at least in the early game, to deflect anything TeebuL throws his way.
Yeah, I mean, he scouted. He should be prepared, anticipating the pathing of that Oracle. Gonna have some Stalkers in position. More importantly, there we go. Shield battery means that Oracle is not gonna be able to kill anything.
Yeah, 2 Oracles can start one-shotting some of these units, but by the time a second Oracle comes out, Probe is going to have plenty more Stalkers. The single Oracle could go for a Stasis Ward, and if Probe is too slow to react, then it will really slow down his economy. If he's too slow to react.
Exactly. I also love this from Probe. He actually fully walled off. That's why the Shade just went over to went nowhere, because he just couldn't pass through. So yeah, Probe just a solid wall in the defense, and ooh, TeebuL throwing down a cheeky pylon here.
Oh my!
Wait, are you feeling Dark Shrine? The Twilight Council just finished up for TeebuL.
Oh, he's waiting for that pylon to finish. It's got to be the Dark Shrine, right? What else could it be? TeebuL gets a little bit of a scout, doesn't see any source of detection from Probe, and there's the Dark Shrine! A gateway as well!
Mate.
Just to make sure he can warp them in as quickly as possible.
Hey, TeebuL, he just knows how to play PvP. Look, we were talking about this even after yesterday's broadcast, about the PvPs that we saw in Europe, and it was missing something. It was missing some, pizzazz, And what it was really missing were more DTs.
Pretty much, and we had plenty of DTs.
We did.
To be fair, but we did, but not enough. Not enough, if you ask me.
Oh god, shaking my head.
We had a series, we had a PvP where at least one player went for a Dark Shrine 3 games for all 3 games. But I tell you what, that wasn't enough for me. We need a series where both players go Dark Shrine at least once.
At least once. Meanwhile, the Dark Shrine is about to finish up, and what I'm concerned about is the robot only just started for Probe. Thankfully, he has a full wall off, so it's gonna take a lot for those DTs to break through this wall and get into the bases of Probe, and enough time may pass where he will be able to chrono out an observer.
Yeah, there aren't any shield batteries here, but gateways still have a relatively high amount of health. This for this stage of the game anyway, so a couple of DTs aren't gonna cause too much damage.
Yeah, that they should not. Especially because there was no War Prism with this either. So, bit of a feels bad, man. Because of that, even though the Dark Shrine finishes up, it's not really being used by TeebuL at all. It's just chilling.
It's just a safety Dark Shrine, you know?
Just chilling.
Yeah.
To be fair, he will have this available to him later on, but it is a little bit inefficient that he invested in a tech like this and he just hasn't been able to use it at all, and probably won't use it for another couple of minutes. But because his opponent Probe is on 2 bases and walled off, TeebuL is free to expand and take a third.
Does he have another Cyber Core? Does he have another Cyber Core?
He's making one.
He already has another Cyber Core.
He's making one. Interesting decision to focus on the Cyber Core instead of a gateway, to say the least.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I guess it may be the position that he wants his hole in the wall.
I guess, yeah.
Maybe, potentially.
I guess so. I'm sure there's logic behind it. Like he was making a Cyber Core. Like it was completely intentional. Like.
Yeah. That Oracle's still flying around here for TeebuL, trying to find whatever damage it can. If it can even go for a bit of a scout, that would be worthwhile. But for now, TeebuL just patrolling around, using it as a little bit of a spotter. Exactly.
Meanwhile, just quickly checking a couple of things here. Probe does have 2 observers. They are towards the southern edges of the map, though. So I'm a little bit concerned. And the DTs, they do slip in. They do reveal themselves.
Yeah, Probe on top of those shimmers, trying to body block as best he can, trying to evacuate the probes as well. But TeebuL is just sprinkling them out here and there. The observer finally gets in position.
Yeah, there was a bit of a recall there into the natural base, so he does clean up all the DTs in his bases, actually. Multiple observers.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God. And 9 probes went down, but thankfully that wasn't the devastating damage that we saw in game number 1, right? It's like, it's manageable.
It really is. Especially when he's on 3 Nexuses, he can just chrono out those probes as and when he needs. Would be nice if he got a gold base, but yeah, just working well. He has the Stasis Ward! Absolutely massive.
Oh,
right in the middle between those slow zones. TeebuL was getting that, and I thought, there's no way Probe is going to fall for that, right?
Ay.
So.
Yeah, the Probe's army is revealed. Meanwhile, charge is already done for TeebuL. We have some more DTs harassing, but they do get cleaned up. And what's important is that TeebuL, he completely avoided Blink Stalkers. He's going +1 charge lot Archon immediately.
Give some Mortals to support them. Stealths are going to act as a fantastic buffer for the more expensive units, the Archons and the Immortals, as they just chip away at the Blinkstalkers of Probe. Now, I kind of do like Blinkstalkers against Archons on them by themselves, not when you have Archon Immortal, and especially not when you have a ton of Zealots to buffer.
Yeah, I tend to agree here. But we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes to Charge or Archon, it's all about positioning. It's all about whether you can avoid taking too much damage from the Archons. You know, your micro with Zealous needs to be on point. And ooh, Probe. Also, I love the way he's taking up here, going straight into a Robotic Spay to go into those Disruptors.
Blink Disruptor. All right, a much more active style of PvP, a much more active unit composition. Always a treat to watch it utilized under a player like Probe, who does have the control for his Purification Novas.
Yeah, that's...
We'll see if TeebuL allows him.
Exactly. Like, the problem with what TeebuL has is that he needs to go now, before the Disruptors come out, because like he doesn't have any Disruptors of his own. Like, it's going to be so difficult to really close the distance here against them. And pushing into the third is not going to work out, because look at all the shield batteries that are on the way.
Yeah, plenty of shield batteries. There's going to be an overcharge available as well. Overcharge plus Archons, not exactly a good day for the attacking player, whether they're Protoss, Zerg, or Terran.
Exactly, and there we go. He realizes his mistake. He does back off immediately once the overcharge is popped, and because of this, TeebuL is a little bit behind. Like, he had an opportunity earlier. He had a timing where he could have hit before these shield batteries, before the tech, but unfortunately, he wasn't aware of it. He backs off, and now it's Probe's turn to fight.
Probe's turn. Yeah, his StarCraft is so exposed, though! They're really doing wonders against the sheer amount of zealots that TeebuL has, but he has to be careful. One of them already taking some hull damage. It's not really going to survive any more hits. I tell you what's going to keep TeebuL even more behind, as you were mentioning earlier on. Probe's going for that gold base.
That he is. The gold will be his force, so his economy is going to be fine, even though he lost all those workers earlier. TeebuL needs something else, and I don't mind this. It's a little bit risky. He wants to go into Phoenixes to disable those disruptors.
Yeah, lift them up just as a Purification Nova gets sent out, or even before if
Oh my god,
you feel that way. These stasis wards, man.
I love them. I love them so much. But it's a great way to utilize the Stargates that he already had, right? So it won't take him too long to get them up and running, but the Phoenixes still need a little bit more time to come out.
Time that I don't think Probe is willing to give TeebuL.
Exactly, he's already here. The first Phoenixes are coming out, and will he be able to pick them up in time?
He's able to pick up one of them, but 2 Purification Novas do land. Thankfully, they mostly just land on the Zealots. Still a relatively expensive unit if we're looking at the amount of income for both players, but at least it wasn't on these Archons or Immortals.
Yeah, that was so clutch that he was able to pick up one of the disruptors. A bit of a misclick. He picked up a disruptor and a stalker instead of 2 disruptors. Feels bad, man. But it was just enough to hold on and survive that push. And now, Made his fourth is up and running. He's fully saturated. We have even worker counts. He's still behind because of the gold base, to be fair, but he's not dead.
But soon he's gonna drown in gold.
He will, man. Wait, who's drowning?
Yes.
Because that gold base is not being mined out. That DT is being so annoying. Now, TeebuL knows the positioning of that army. If he wants, he could try and go straight into the natural. Oh god, oh god.
Purification Nova, unfortunately, a little bit mistimed.
Disruptors exposed.
Yeah, Probe trying to keep the army of TeebuL at bay, but when it's purely disruptors like that, it doesn't really do too much.
Yeah,
it doesn't take much to just avoid the Purification Nova.
And feels bad, man. Like, he picked up 2 disruptors to kill them, but because they were in range of the shield batteries, they just didn't die. Oh god, no! TeebuL, please! He wants to pay attention! Oh!
And because of it, he will lose a substantial chunk of his Zealots and an Archon.
Exactly, he was a little bit too distracted, warping in across the map for a counterattack. Sustaining so many losses to these disruptors. Again, like, he needs his own, like, I don't know if these Phoenixes are really going to work out for him. We'll see. We'll see.
I feel like we're getting to a point where even if TeebuL is able to lift up all those disruptors,
yeah,
Probe still has an edge.
He's gonna go for it, he's gonna go for it!
Archons, the Purification Novas land on top of every single one of those Zealots. The Disruptors a little bit exposed, but I like this from Probe. Actually kept his Zealots in the back to make sure he didn't get friendly fired on. Now he's sending them forward. Probe is taking a lot of probe damage, not sure to what exactly. But his army is starting to get cleaned up. These Phoenixes coming into play. The Immortals are really living up to the name.
Exactly. We were talking about the Zealot run by earlier. That's why TeebuL was distracted. He was warping them in, and they do hit. 17 probes go down, and TeebuL, he does defend. I was a little bit worried because he was being a little bit idle with his Phoenixes, but as we saw, they finally came into play. They picked up all the Stalkers, and TeebuL crushes that army.
And now he is going for a gold base of his own.
That he is. The scary part is that 3 disruptors survived that. Like, there's still a lot of disruptors, man. that's still a lot. Oh god, and Probe is not going to make it easy for him. Like, he's morphing in more Archons. Like, the goal of these Archons, sure, they're to deal with these Zealots, but also to help protect these disruptors from those Phoenixes.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they just haven't quite been able to get in range.
True. It's a very similar role that they have, like, in PvZ, right, against Corruptors.
Yeah.
You got to zone them out, right?
Pretty much. Well, obviously, the ideal would be for the Corruptors and the Phoenixes here to stand right on top of the Archons.
Exactly.
Rarely happens, so.
Meanwhile, ooh, Blink is done for the DTs. They do slip on in. They do distract Probe, and now once again, TeebuL's pushing him forward into all these shield batteries. Ugh.
I didn't even notice that TeebuL remade the Dark Shrine. I'm gonna be honest.
He did remake it. He's made another, like, he just keeps getting workers. They just keep dying. Oh my god.
Basically another mineral line gets taken out. I will say that Probe still isn't too far behind despite losing 14 probes. He is continuing to produce from 5 Nexuses at a time.
That he is. That's insane, by the way. It's insane that... hold on, let's have a look here. Probe has lost 47 probes. 47. That's almost as much as what TeebuL has right now. And TeebuL has lost 3 probes. And Probe is still ahead of the worker count. It's crazy. Probe, take care of your probes. Goddamn.
Yeah, you gotta live up to your name, man.
Oh god. Meanwhile, we do have a couple of Zealot run-bys here and there. TeebuL working on his upgrades. I think what's the most surprising thing to me is that I thought that these Phoenixes were going to be a bit of a stopgap measure, right? Get enough Phoenixes, survive a couple of engagements, and then you get into your own Robotics Bay and you get into your own Disruptors. Nah, mate. It's just... He's just committed to this army composition. I'm like, oh, it's so risky. Like, we've seen TeebuL misclick a couple of times and not necessarily pick up the Disruptors, and every single engagement, like 1, 2, or 3 Disruptor shots still connect. Sure, it's not as bad as like 6, but still, like, it's devastating every time.
But consider this. If you have more Phoenixes, you can misclick and still have Phoenixes to correctly click.
There you go. If you have enough Phoenixes,
logic,
mate, you just pick everything up. That's all you got to do. Just pick it all up.
Just lift, bro.
Just lift, bro. As the DTs again getting more probe kills, doing whatever they can, depowering a couple of structures, wreaking a little bit of havoc here for probe, and I'm still waiting for the tech, right? Like, sure, if you don't want to go DTs, fine, right? I'm sorry, if you don't want to go Disruptors, fine, TeebuL, but like, I don't know, switch into Sky Toss, right? Like, Disruptors don't shoot up. Yeah, get a Fleepy.
Some Flux Veins for Void Rays, perhaps.
Yeah, also
Carrier for a sec, but... No, the DTs actually did survive and take out that Disruptor.
They did. Nicely done. Meanwhile, the main army's moving out. Probe does spot it. He's not too far behind. TeebuL backs off in the end, and finally, we see it. We see the switch. We have a second Robo and a Robotics Bay for his own goddamn Disruptors.
Finally. Unless he goes for Colossus.
Unless, mate. Unless.
I'm kind of hoping that's what we see, I'm going to be honest, but yeah, Disruptors are the much more sensible choice. I have to wonder if ping is going to factor in whatsoever to the decision of TeebuL and what unit he gets out of that Robo Bay.
Yeah, we shall see, mate, as the Zealots are going to be rushing in here. Again, TeebuL kind of outpositioning Probe a little bit, but Probe is not too far behind, and again, TeebuL cannot engage this main army. That's why he just keeps going for all these run-bys, slowly getting rid of supplies so he can make those Disruptors.
Yeah, very similar to Azure getting rid of the roaches because they don't scale as well as the game goes on. In this case, it's the Zealots. Probes keep dying, and Probe is still ahead on the worker count, by the way. I want to see the statistics after this game. How many goddamn workers Probe has made?
Jesus Christ, mate.
He's lost 68. So he's made at least 68.
He has. More DTs come in like Probe. The problem is that earlier he was maxed out so he couldn't warp in to defend, but now like he's just being pulled apart. Like the Archon is here as well. Oh my god, all the probes are bunched up.
Ouch. TeebuL is finally taking the lead on the worker supply, but Probe is looking to reciprocate with DTs of his own.
There we go.
TeebuL wasn't quite suspecting this.
Exactly. For the first time this game, Probe deals some economic damage. Up until now, TeebuL only lost 3 workers, but now an entire mineral line just evaporates.
And just like that, Probe regains the worker lead. We'll see how important that becomes as TeebuL does have quite a bit of a bank on him. Both players are getting pretty close to maxing out.
He is, and oh god, I'm a little bit concerned here. We do have 1 Disruptor here for TeebuL. It goes off. Oh my god!
Oh, they take out just about half of the Disruptors of Probe. That was the money, Nova.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ, even though he only had 1, sometimes it only takes 1. Probe, mate, you gotta go in. He's still ahead in workers though. I gotta commend him every time. His ability to produce probes is crazy. It's insane. It's unmatched.
Yeah, I suppose that's why he doesn't really need to feel as pressured to go in and deal some damage. He knows that he has a fairly stable economy behind him.
That he is. Meanwhile, we just see a massive recall across the map. The Disruptor shots are going off. Oh god.
Only getting a couple of Zealots.
Yeah, only a couple of Zealots, and the Disruptors are going down 2 said Zealots. Meanwhile, the Archons were completely left exposed. To be fair, I think that they could fight this. There we go. He does finally turn around, take out all of these charge lots.
Yeah, TeebuL keeping a couple of them in the back. He doesn't want to waste his Purification Novas either. He wants to wait until he can really get in range of
the Disruptors!
Archons.
The Disruptors!
Oh,
Nothing shoots
they're
up!
so exposed!
Mate.
They are in range of the shield batteries, though. Battery Overcharge going to be keeping a couple of them alive. Probe is still in this.
Probe is still in this. Oh god, as the Zealots, they find their way through the gold base now because enough of those minerals have been mined. Oh god, he does back off. But the DT
it's
harass...
kind of trouble of being the first player to get the gold.
It is. Oh my god. Meanwhile, that one Disruptor, it looks like it will finally get picked off. Nice hit on there by Probe. The base is gonna get killed though, not denied.
Unfortunately not. A couple of Archons get taken out. I say a couple, but literally mean only one.
Oh boy. That it is. Is there detection here for Probe? Okay, there is, thankfully. Oh my god. I was so concerned.
They are slow observers, unfortunately.
Oh god, I was terrified. Meanwhile, the flanking Disruptors, they're going up! No!
Probe! Just about every single Disruptor! Probe has lost his most reliable force of, or his most effective force of splash damage. He still has plenty of Archons, obviously, and they can get a couple of volleys in, but the writing was on the wall here. Probe taps out, and TeebuL takes that series 2-0.